So try the Tesla for 1 second, see how it feels. How does it compare to, what do you think it's driving?
I love it. I love it. So I drove the Tesla Roadster when it first came out. And this feels so much more polished and refined. This is, right now we're driving this slowly through a parking lot. It's absolutely comfortable. But I just got the wheels loose as I floored it earlier there, and it was, acceleration was instantaneous and
it's
fun.
rain, and it's full rain, so it's a little bit more. Do it one more time. Feel. What is Tesla in America? What do people think about Tesla?
Tesla is one of those companies that, the automotive companies. I'll answer that two ways. First, from the automotive company perspective. 3 years ago, nobody from the automotive was giving Tesla any sort of look or understanding. Nobody cared.
No.
People, the early adopters of Tesla, those that bought Tesla Roadster, saw Tesla as a bit of an emotional type of vehicle, something that you can get green cachet and credibility, but yet still have high performance. Fast forward to current days, GM is aligning their strategy to compete against Tesla. Look at this car. This blows the doors off of a Chevy Volt or Opel Ampera. I personally think. And I think the customer that typically would look at a Tesla 5 years ago or 3 years ago when the Roadster came out is much more mainstream now. They're still looking for performance, but now it's the BMW 5 Series shopper, not the extreme sports car green person. Because the value proposition, this stacks up so well against the BMW.
Yeah, it's true. And the insane value of the company.
It is. I mean, I think this company is really indicative of things to come. I mean, look at that. This is a computer. It's beautiful on the inside, especially my generation and younger are used to these types of touchpads, even though I failed on how to open the sunroof. But this is the kind of the interface and the dashboard that we look for. These are the motivations that are the things that motivate us to buy vehicles. Not to mention the fact that you have electric propulsion that's instantaneous torque, great performance, and the environmental credibility of electric transportation. I mean, I think it's a win-win combination. And I think I think regardless of what powertrain that you're going to see in vehicles come forward, and I think there'll be a lot, fuel cell, natural gas, diesel, I think this package that Tesla has created around a very high-tech, sports car, sports-oriented, but yet very practical, is really going to be a future of things to come, or a vision of things to come.
Okay. Now, IBM, what kind of offerings do you have for this EV, balance, energy, smart grid market?
So we look at it in two different ways. One is, from your perspective, you're an electric vehicle owner. How do I create a market that's more convenient for you to recharge and refuel your vehicle, right? There's certain limitations around that, new business models that need to take place, new information data exchange that needs to take place around recharging, refueling, and connecting that back to the grid from a business, financial settlement perspective. But then there's also the challenge of electric vehicles and the power that recharges them. They are a very big consumer of electricity.
Yeah.
So they are a distribution operator's nightmare, so to speak, and the distribution operator has to balance the grid at all times, right? So when a vehicle plugs in, it's basically the equivalent of an entire household or larger.
No, much more than a house.
It's a huge electrical
Mine
draw.
does 3 times 32.
Well, so
it's 90 amps at 240 volts, so it's 20 kilowatts. That's probably 20
So the
houses.
Tesla's a bit of
20 houses.
So Tesla charges at much quicker rate than other vehicles, but it is a huge amount of electrical draw.
Disruptive
And where you
user.
where you plug in at night is not where you're going to plug in during the day. It's not where you're going to plug in during where you're out running errands, which this car is designed to do.
Yeah. So you need a lot of intelligence to manage that
intelligence
process.
to say, how do I, this is indicative of distributed energy. With all these new energy consuming and producing devices, how do utilities better balance the grid?
Yeah.
So it's the information, but also this can be used as grid assets. How do we smart charge vehicles so that it actually can decrease or curtail the amount of electricity that you use in accordance with renewable energy?
Yeah. And that's like, and these utilities are really smart companies, right? They are super intelligent. They're really great in managing this fine maze of right? And that's what your software does.
The utilities have the hardest job, especially our friends in the distribution office. They are the ones that manage the most complex machines on this planet. We're only making, by buying electric vehicles as great as they are, we're making their job harder. It's the role of IBM to make the distribution operator's job easier and allow you guys that own electric vehicles to have that seamless consumer experience that you have.
And so on one hand you have the electric vehicle, on one hand you have all the solar cells on the roofs.
Right.
Are these two sides of the same coin, that they have to be more
highly compatible? At the end of the day, it requires a whole bunch more intelligence on the utility side, but at the same time, solar energy, wind energy, all these great things that are indicative of smart grid necessitate and are benefit from storage, which is exactly what an electric vehicle is. It is nothing more than a battery on wheels. It's much more complicated than that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We can use
these
batteries.
No, it's batteries, a little engine, and a lot of software.
A lot of intelligence sits right here, but a lot of
yeah.
more intelligence needs to sit out on the grid to say, I'm going to charge this vehicle when solar energy is most prominent, and wheretofore utilities couldn't use that and would actually have to waste that energy.
Yeah.
Now we can put that right into electric vehicles, increase the rate of recharging, and actually use that to better balance the grid, better increase renewable energy.
And one step further, can this also be a supplier of electricity, this car?
Yep.
Because, I mean, it can basically run my house for a week.
It could. So there's a couple of different applications for that. This could be something like an uninterruptible power supply, where it is connected to your home, and in times of blackouts or things like that, where you would lose power, you could draw power from your vehicle. Technology is there. It's proven. It's more of a kind of a consumer education and market thing, as well as some of the battery warranty and issuing things that are being worked through. But there's also the larger application of, can you actually put power from your grid or from your vehicle battery back out to the grid?
Yeah.
There's markets for that. There's frequency. There's
it's very
capacity.
expensive stuff. I mean, people pay per kilowatt. They pay 10 times as much for the kilowatt on certain moments.
There's
in
a
the spot
lot
market.
of economic value in it. It's around. It's a lot of these things still around. Can the battery? How does the battery withstand a lot of charging and discharging? Because that's still a lot of the cost of the electric vehicle. There's a lot of consumer education around doing this, and then there's a lot of the market structure and really the regulation that governs that. The technology is there, and that's something that IBM is working to do, but that the hurdles right now are really on the consumer education and the regulatory side to enable this to take place.
Tesla is a nice consumer education device. Isn't it?
We are sitting in the future of the smart grid. I mean, this Tesla is an example of software, technology, intelligence interacting.
First
interfacing
time
with the grid.
that we Europeans like an American car and think it's sophisticated.
Wow.
Yeah, it is amazing. It is amazing.
That
Good
is
job,
bold,
good job, Tesla. One last question.
Yeah.
IBM is really enthusiastic about new generations of batteries. Like lithium air batteries. 10 times. The promise is 10 times more power per kilo. And also way less cost per kilowatt hour.
Right.
How long will that take to go from the labs to a car like this?
What it's trying to do, and the idea is lithium air, so it's a new battery chemistry, and it's trying to replicate the experience that you get on your traditional vehicle. So what's the range that you get when you go between refueling?
1,800 to 1,000.
500 to 500 miles. We speak in miles, so 1,000 kilometers, whatever. It's a radical altering of battery chemistry in order to do that. We're working on that in and out of our research lab. Commercial viability is still a ways off because you have to prove it, you have to demonstrate it, you have to make sure that it's going to be sturdy and integral enough.
How long?
I think within 5 to 10 years, you're going to have a completely different look on your electric vehicle experience, on your driving, whether that's lithium air, whether that's some other technology. I don't know. I don't have my crystal ball.
But everybody agrees the future is electric. It's just more how do we, are there better, what kind of battery technology, or what kind of, or how big is the role of hydrogen?
Yeah.
But it's going to be electric.
I think electric will be a huge component of our transportation. Absolutely, without question.
How big will the business be to manage that whole process for IBM?
I hope it's big. My job depends on it.
Yeah, because you have the most complex title. Can you say it one more time?
Global Strategy Lead for Distributed Energy Resources.
Okay, so you think about these systems for the future. Okay, thanks for thinking with us.
I stay awake at night thinking about these things.
Appreciate it.